guys, I am back and I am so excited for today's video. We're going to be going through my update for my book roulette challenge that I am doing this year. If you missed my introduction to this series, I will link it down below, but basically I am doing a 50 prompt book reading challenge. I am doing it roulette style, so I'm rolling in a couple prompts to focus on or to make those my goal, and then I will try to read books in those prompts and then kind of go from there. So if you missed my update, make sure to check it down below or in the cards, and without further ado, I'm going to go over what my setup was for this month. So I'm not gonna lie, I was out of town, so I was reading very much, I was reading a lot, but I honestly had been kind of going through and bookmarking books that I wanted to read on Libby for 6 weeks leading up to my winter break. And so since I was doing that, I wasn't really cross-referencing the prompts, and I didn't know what prompts I was going to roll in first. So I kind of just read whatever I wanted in the end of December and early January. And now I'll try to focus a little bit more on the prompts and doing the ones that I've rolled in. So the prompts that I did last month, that I rolled in for in my introduction, were a book written by someone under 30, a Pulitzer Prize winning book, a book you own but have never read, and a book based on a true story, and then a play. So I rolled in 5. Now, I did read 6 books, but I only filled one of these prompts. So I'm going to start with that one. I read Beloved by Toni Morrison, which is a Pulitzer Prize winning book. So I finished that one in early January. It was really interesting. I read her foreword at the beginning of the book. I don't know if that's included in all copies of Beloved, but that made me really understand the book more and why she wrote it and what it was inspired by. And so I thought that was really interesting, and I really liked that book. And I read The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison in high school, and I wouldn't have probably picked up this one necessarily if I hadn't had this prompt. So I thought that this was a good way to get through, to get reading something new. Then I read a book with a number in the title. It was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I loved that book. I totally get why there's the hype. It's so good. It's a mystery and this very beautiful love story. Oh, it's so good. And then I read November 9th by Colleen Hoover, which I used for the prompt, a book by a female author. I finished that on my holiday in December. I read, for a book you can finish in a day, I read Colleen Hoover's Maybe Not, which is 100 pages, and it did take me 2 days to read because I read an hour one day and an hour the next day, but it's so short you could definitely read it in a day. And so I finished that actually this week on Monday, so that was more recent. It is a part of a trilogy, so, it's part of a little trio of books. The Maybe Not is a spin-off of the book that I read, Maybe Someday, which is what I used for the prompt, a trilogy, also by Colleen Hoover, obviously, and I read that in December. It was also a very good book. Maybe Someday and Maybe Not, it uses kind of the same characters, so it was interesting reading a very similar story, or a storyline from the same time, but from a very different perspective. And a book that I literally finished today that I'm very excited about is The Duke and I, and it is the book that inspired the TV show Bridgerton, and I used that for a book based on or turned into a TV show. So that is good. I've actually never watched Bridgerton, and now I'm deciding if I want to watch it now or if I want to read all 8 books in this series and then watch it, but I don't know how long that'll take me, so I might just watch the series. Because I mean, it is a very good book. Predictable though, you know when she meets the Duke that they're going to get together, aside from the fact that the book is called The Duke and I, but there's just, I mean, they were meant to go together. Also, it was one of those ooh, we're gonna be super smart and scheme and get out of this, and oh, look how smart we are. And it's No. Mm-mm. No. Sorry if you haven't read that book and you have no clue what I'm talking about, but no. So those are the 6 books that I read. So I am at about a book a week. I'm a little bit short. There's 52 weeks in a year, so I'm gonna need to catch up with my reading if I'm going to read all 50 books this year, but that's not really my goal. My goal is mostly to read books that I wouldn't have read otherwise and reinvigorate my love of reading by like challenging myself. So that's why I'm doing this, which is why I'm not too upset about the number of books I'm reading. But now I would like to focus on kind of filling the prompts a little bit more. So I have already started my book. I actually started it earlier in the month and then lost it, but I found it. So I'm going to continue reading my book that's based on a true story, which I'll talk about next month. And then I've picked a book from my collection that I want to read for a book you own but have never read. I do have a pretty big stack of books that could fill that, but I'm going to go with that one. And then I have to figure out what my book is going to be written by someone under 30. Right now, I'm actually going to roll out a play. I'm just not interested in reading a play right now, unfortunately. So I'm just not going to do it. If I get to it later in the year and I re-roll it in and I want to read a play, I can. But I did read plays in high school for assignments, and I personally don't enjoy reading a play as much as I enjoy watching a play. So I don't know if I'm going to fill that one. I might just make that like a wild card, or I'll just take it out or something like that. But for now, I'm just going to roll it out of my prompts. So I have a book by someone written under 30. There's written by someone under 30, a book you've owned but never read, and a book based off of a true story. And I'm going to roll in 2 new prompts. So I have my random number generator pulled up on Google, and I'm going to generate one number, 26 and 48. So 26 is a book from your childhood. Okay, that's interesting. And then 48 is a play. Okay, no. 35. A book by an author you've never read before. Okay, perfect. So now I have those 5 prompts pulled. I'm very curious to see what books I can read from my childhood. Maybe I'll do like A Wrinkle in Time or something good like that. And that is everything that I have for this. Please let me know what you've been reading. If you have any recommendations to fill these prompts, please let me know down below. I have the next couple books that I'm going to read planned, so hopefully I get some good things going. And then I've also been toying around with the idea of including audiobooks. I started listening to an audiobook when I walk to and from school. I don't know why, but it feels different than reading, but I'm still like learning and I'm still listening to the story. So I think I am going to cover that or include that, but I'm not sure how yet because I don't know. I'm not sure what prompt the book I'm currently listening to will fill, but you know, we'll figure it out. So other than that, I hope you're having an incredible, awesome day wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this series, please let me know. I hope you are all doing well with your reading, with your New Year's goals, all of those things, and you're taking some time to relax and take care of yourself. That's everything that I have for you. Thanks, guys.